The world is a geopolitical funhouse where mirrors distort reality, clowns run the show, and the cotton candy is laced with despair.
It's negative about Ukraine. Ukraine got attacked by Russia. They got invaded by Russia. There are Russian troops trying to attack Ukraine. It's not like Ukraine's trying to attack Moscow, right? That's not what's happening. And so, I don't understand. It's more complex. And no. I'm sure that it's more complex than that. But at the end of the day, all of those complexities, I think, do have to level down to one or the other. And I think that really it's kind of up that Trump is saying this. I'm totally against his perspective on Ukraine. I think that he's doing a massive disservice to us diplomatically. And it doesn't mean that I support Ukraine about everything, and I want to.
I've been in the trenches and r/Asmongold. The whole stuff is turning against Trump over Ukraine. I'm surprised that he has this position on Ukraine. I wonder where this comes from.
Troops over to Ukraine. I'm not saying that either, right? But I don't see why you go on national television and you, as the president of the United States, just repeat things like he's polling at 4%. Nobody said that. He never said that. It's so stupid for him to do this. And the problem and what
a lot of Republicans are about Trump's stance in Russia. Our conservatives against Trump on Ukraine as well. Oh, his position on Ukraine has just been so it's not unbelievable. I keep saying that. I need to play video games. I hate this. He's doing exactly what he did. I don't think people realized exactly what happened with Afghanistan. Nobody actually knows. Donald Trump went to Doha with the negotiators of the Taliban, and they made a deal. Part of it was secret for negotiating total U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. And part of this deal was we released thousands of 5,000 Taliban prisoners. And the worst part was the Afghanistan government had absolutely no idea what this deal even was. Part of the reason why Afghanistan collapsed even faster than we thought it would when we were in the process of pulling out is because the Taliban would show up to areas and basically say, hey, this land has already been signed over to us. I don't even know why you're defending it. You need to get the land. They'd be like, oh, I didn't even know. It was just this negotiated deal, quote unquote negotiation. This was just a complete and total and utter surrender of Afghanistan. And what's the negotiation going to happen? What is Russia going to be giving up here? Who the knows? So it's just a total surrender, except now Trump isn't even surrendering a U.S. position. He's surrendering on behalf of another country. What the f does Elon mean when he says Zelensky, an American journalist? That one guy that we hate, that we used to debate, who said I would kill myself in 10 years. I don't know how many years I have left. Coach Red Pill. He was a journalist in Ukraine. Journalist. I'm giving the biggest air quotes ever. When he went to Ukraine, I'm so triggered. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Because somebody brought up the Abraham Accords in YouTube chat as well. You don't get credit for negotiating when you cut out the most difficult party to negotiate with. Who did I argue with last on stream that was saying the Abraham Accords? Well, actually, they were pretty good. You got to give them some credit for that. This was an actual debate I had. Who was it recently? It's not impressive that you managed to negotiate some kind of Middle Eastern peace deal with Israel and Saudi Arabia and Morocco when these guys all have a super common enemy, which is Iran, and you cut the Palestinians out of the negotiated deal. The Palestinian is the biggest issue right now when it comes to negotiating peace. What's a fancy thing I could say? South of Iraq and Syria, whatever that's not it's not very impressive. That was the hard part, was figuring out the Palestinian issue. Kicking that can down the road that's not really that impressive of a deal. Same thing with the Doha Accord. Is it accord or agreement, or I Googled agreement. But these talks, this is not impressive. Good job. You surrendered to the Taliban. That's not an impressive negotiation. Oh, I think I might have spoken to, it was Coleman about that. I don't know if that full video is posted yet. And then same thing with what's going on right now with Russia and Ukraine. It's not going to be that impressive to negotiate peace if we just say, okay, well, we're going to make Ukraine do a full surrender, and then boom, we negotiate. Where are these great negotiation skills? At the very least, in an ideal world, at the end of 4 years of Trump, and this is what really pissed me off about conservatives, I should be grumbling and Trump, I hate him, blah, 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 blah. But then conservatives should be able to be yeah, you hate him, but look what he did for this country. How mad are you that our economy is rocking, that we've got the strongest alliance ever, that we trashed Russia with Trump's crazy negotiating abilities, right? That we've got some of the most favorable, like, how mad are you? And it's like, oh, Trump. That should be me. But it's not. Instead, I'm just like, watch my country being destroyed and our alliance with Europe being destroyed. That speech that Vance gave was crazy. That's like a historically insane speech to go over to Europe, be like, you guys don't have freedom of speech anymore. What I saw on X. Right? That was an insane speech for Vance to give. It was an insane speech. What are we getting for all of Trump's crazy negotiating strategies? Give me one thing. Like, just show me something that we're getting for this. Because there's nothing. We're not getting anything. We're not getting anything for any of these strategies anywhere. We're not getting anything at all, except triggered.
Donald Trump is back in the White House, strutting around like he's the lovechild of a used car salesman and a reality TV producer, promising to make deals that'll put America first. But Destiny, our hero of the hour, is out here on Twitch, wielding his keyboard like a scalpel, cutting through the MAGA mythology to expose Trump's foreign policy as less art of the deal and more art of the surrender. In this clip, Destiny's unloading on Trump's baffling Ukraine comments, his secret Taliban deal, and his cozy relationships with authoritarian strongmen like Putin and Netanyahu, painting a picture of a president who's not negotiating. He's cowering, capitulating, and calling it a win. Destiny's core argument is a gut punch. Trump's not the deal-maker he claims to be. He's a guy who folds faster than a lawn chair when faced with real power, whether it's Putin's icy stare, Bibi's political chess, or the Taliban's demands. Destiny's out here revealing a Trump who's so intimidated by strongmen he'd probably offer them Mar-a-Lago as a timeshare just to avoid a stern phone call. Because this is the ultimate betrayal of the MAGA fantasy. The guy who promised to make America great again is out here making America the geopolitical equivalent of a doormat, wiping his feet on our alliances while strongmen walk all over us. This clip is a neon-lit allegory for the state of America's foreign policy, where bluster passes for strategy, and winning means surrendering to whoever yells loudest. Destiny's not just debunking Trump's negotiator myth, he's exposing a deeper truth about power, fear, and the fragility of a man who'd rather tweet than lead. I'm cackling because this is what happens when you let a reality star run the world. You get a foreign policy that's less grand strategy and more grand catastrophe, and we're all just along for the ride. Let's zoom in on the first issue, Trump's Ukraine stance. Destiny's out here losing his mind, and frankly, same, because Trump has been on national TV parroting Kremlin talking points like he's auditioning for a guest spot on RT. Russia's invading Ukraine with tanks rolling and lives being shattered, but Trump's out here acting like it's a complex situation, as if Ukraine's the one knocking on Moscow's door with an army. Destiny's like, no, it's not complex, it's an invasion and you're siding with the bad guy. Because this is Trump at his worst. A man so enamored with Putin's strongman swagger that he's willing to throw Ukraine under the bus, diplomacy be doomed. Destiny's point is brutal. Trump's Ukraine comments aren't just wrong, they're a diplomatic disaster, alienating allies and emboldening adversaries. Even his own base, the MAGA faithful who'd normally cheer him for breathing, are turning on him like a reality show contestant who just stole the group's pizza. Destiny's out here marveling at the backlash, noting that conservatives, centrists, and even the Reddit warriors of r/Asmongold are dunking on Trump's stance. It's like watching a cult realize their guru has been selling them snake oil, because this is what happens when you build a movement on vibes instead of facts. One bad take, and the whole house of cards starts wobbling. But let's not kid ourselves. This isn't just about Ukraine. It's about Trump's fear of Putin, a man who's got him wrapped around his finger like a knockoff Rolex. Destiny's implying that Trump's Ukraine stance isn't strategic, it's submissive, a reflection of a guy who'd rather cozy up to a dictator than stand up for democracy. Because this is the real Trump. Not a master negotiator, but a guy who's so intimidated by Putin's shirtless horseback photos that he'll repeat Kremlin lies on live TV. It's a betrayal of everything America's supposed to stand for, and it's got Destiny and me ready to scream into a pillow until 2026. Now let's pivot to the second bombshell, Trump's secret Taliban deal in Doha. Destiny's out here spilling the tea on a moment so jaw-dropping it deserves its own Netflix docuseries, complete with dramatic reenactments and a Hans Zimmer score. Back in the day, Trump sat down with Taliban negotiators, yes, the same Taliban who've been fighting U.S. troops for 2 decades, and hammered out a deal for total U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Sounds like a bold move, right? Except Destiny's revealing it was less a negotiation and more a surrender, with Trump releasing 5,000 Taliban prisoners and signing over land without even telling the Afghan government. It's like selling your neighbor's house without asking them, then calling it a great deal. Because this is the kind of foreign policy malpractice that makes you question whether Trump's ever read a briefing, or if he just skims the Cliffs Notes while watching Fox News. Destiny's point is devastating. The Afghan government was blindsided, left scrambling as the Taliban rolled in, claiming land that Trump had secretly handed over. It's why Afghanistan collapsed faster than a bad sitcom when the U.S. pulled out, because Trump's deal was less a strategy and more a white flag waved from a golf cart. Because this is what happens when you let a reality star play diplomat. You get a surrender dressed up as a victory, and the consequences are measured in lives, not likes. And let's talk about Trump's fear of the Taliban for a second, because Destiny's implying something deeper here. Trump didn't negotiate with them, he capitulated, intimidated by their resolve and desperate to claim a win before the next election. It's like he saw their beards and AK-47s and thought, you know what, you guys can have Afghanistan, I'll just take the photo op. Because this is the ultimate irony. The guy who built his brand on strength is out here folding to a group that's been fighting with flip-flops and Cold War-era rifles. It's a betrayal of our troops, our allies, and the very idea of American leadership, and Destiny's out here calling it like it is. Let's take a detour to the Middle East, because Destiny has not done dragging Trump's so-called deals. He's out here debunking the myth of the Abraham Accords, the much-hyped agreement that normalized relations between Israel and a few Arab states. Trump's base loves to tout this as proof of his negotiating genius, but Destiny's like, hold up, let's not give him a Nobel Peace Prize just yet. The Accords, he argues, were less a breakthrough and more a convenient alliance between countries that already had a common enemy, Iran. And the Palestinians, the people at the heart of the Middle East conflict, they were cut out of the deal entirely, like guests who didn't make the VIP list at a Mar-a-Lago gala. Because this is Trump's foreign policy in a nutshell: flashy photo ops, zero substance, and a complete disregard for the hard parts. Destiny's point is that negotiating peace without the Palestinians is like baking a cake without flour. It's not a cake, it's a mess. And Trump's fear of Netanyahu, Israel's political mastermind, looms large here. Bibi's been playing 4D chess while Trump's struggling with checkers, and the Accords were less a Trump triumph and more a Netanyahu victory, with Trump happily taking the credit like a kid who colored in someone else's drawing. Because this is what happens when you let a narcissist play diplomat. You get deals that look good on paper, but kick the can down the road, leaving the real problems to fester like a bad Yelp review. This Abraham Accords shade is a reminder that Trump's not a negotiator. He's a showman, intimidated by real power and eager to slap his name on anything that glitters. Destiny's out here exposing a president who's more interested in headlines than history, because this is why we're in this mess. A foreign policy built on ego, not expertise, where strongmen like Bibi call the shots and Trump's just happy to be in the room. So where does this leave us in this roller coaster of liberal rage and comedic chaos? It leaves us staring into the void of a foreign policy that's less America first and more America folded. Destiny's clip is a wake-up call, a neon-lit billboard screaming that Trump's not the negotiator he claims to be. He's a man terrified of strongmen, desperate for wins, and willing to surrender anything to get them. Because this is what happens when you let a reality star run the world. You get a president who's more intimidated by Putin's scowl than inspired by America's ideals, more swayed by Bibi's strategy than our allies' needs, and more eager to surrender to the Taliban than fight for our values. This is a call to action, America. We can't keep letting fear dressed up as bravado dictate our place in the world. We can't keep cheering for deals that are just surrenders with better branding. Destiny's out here doing the Lord's work, exposing Trump's weaknesses and demanding a foreign policy that's worthy of our nation's promise. So let's burn it down, not literally, because I'm not trying to catch a case, but metaphorically. Let's dismantle the myth of Trump's genius, the idea that bluster equals strength. Let's build a world where our leaders negotiate from courage, not cowardice, where our alliances are stronger than our egos, and where we stand up to strongmen instead of handing them the keys to the kingdom.